So this was definitely one of the most interesting Zom 100 episodes since really the show began. And in a way, you could probably call it the worst episode since the show began for a character like Akira who literally only found peace after the zombie apocalypse because he was free from his zombie work lifestyle. And now, with this episode, I mean, half of it was just dedicated to the pure anxiety, the panic, the torture of reuniting with his chief, who basically forces him more or less at gunpoint. You blow his tires out, you make Ken basically wounded and say, hey, come work for me for a couple of days and I'll let you go. When you know damn well that the reason you see so many people who are huffing and puffing is they can't leave because he probably holds debts over their heads, and those who are staying willingly probably do so because they think it's the best situation for them. And this is going to get worse before it gets better, but I do believe in our boy to break free from this hell, and as long as we can get at least the next few episodes like they're promising us before obviously the show goes on break for who knows how long, I'll be as happy as I can be because this show has been fantastic. Now, I do have a full live reaction episode 6 of Zom 100 available on my Patreon, so if you would like to see my full uncut thoughts to today's episode, it is over there if you're interested. It's always fun when I'm watching these episodes and I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. They're searching for an RV, it's going to be a shame if a bunch of zombies break free, and then what happens 2 seconds after I say that? Exactly that. It was fun seeing the divide of the first half of this, touching upon things that I think even in my previous video or the one before that, so it was either episodes 4 or 5, I was talking about how, like, I wonder how long they're gonna go with electricity and water and plumbing and all these things before eventually it stops working, because obviously it couldn't. Like, there's systems in place and workers in place to keep our modern world going. In an apocalypse, there's only so long as that it could actually go for. So them chilling on the rooftop with no care in the world, like, realistically, could that happen forever? No. But if they were going to go the route of maybe avoiding certain plot points like that in favor of a character kind of having vacation, it could work for a humorous direction. But as we clearly see with this episode, they jump aboard. They say, hey, we're out of water. Hey, there's no more electricity. Our phones are charged. And they're using, I think, rechargeable batteries or batteries in general to do so. So I like the fact that they basically ran out and, you know, there's a reason why they would have to get an RV, because not only would it be the perfect mobile home that for the apocalypse, ultimately it'll allow you to check in on parents or family members if possible. And it was kind of nice seeing why we met up with our girl, because obviously we know they exchange contact information, but like she's someone who's very much like trying to avoid being killed, things to do to avoid be turning into a zombie, and an RV is the most logical choice. And it was very fun, very ridiculous seeing the difference in opinion, because we start this episode with them trying to shop for the most expensive watch. You have this solid gold watch, that's not even good enough. This thing's worth 3 times as much, and just seeing the bling, seeing the Riz in action, the fact that they take that same energy to the RV. This isn't about getting something that's practical. Like, there's a couple of moments where like, oh, the roof pops up, like that's awesome, we should do that, even though it's a giant sign saying, hey, eat me zombies, you know, they don't think that through. But I love the fact that as she's pretty much going down the list of practicality reasons of like why this would be good, you know, you want all terrain, 4-wheel drive, this, that, and the third, they're just saying, oh my god, this thing's worth how many million yen, this is the one we want. And while yes, she also had a moment of, you know, innocence and weakness of being like, this is actually kind of cute, this is my style, at the end of the day, they went with the one we all knew they would if you watched the ending. And the reason being they quickly pick is because, well, you can't really be too picky when the zombies come and knocking. And it was fun. I really liked what they did, and I truly thought we were just gonna hit the road and have some slice of life RV adventures, and then the spike trap. And I was like, okay, who the hell are these wannabe baseball players? And then we see wannabe Negan, aka the chief, his old boss, and I'm like, oh no, bro, like what the hell? And he threw me for a loop a couple of times, because I was like, okay, he's a scumbag, there's no way we can trust him. But then he did the smile. I was like, okay, what if they go the route that this dude, obviously he's going to be running some shady Negan-like Walking Dead business, but what if he truly looks at our boy Akira as like, oh, he was a good worker, so I'm not going to treat him scumbag. Like, hey, come work for me, I'll help you, you help me. I thought that's what they were going to try to build, and then very quickly we realized, like, no, he's just a very good manipulator. He makes, you know, this is his system. He forces people to say, oh, you know, your tires are blown out, your people are wounded. Couple of days, we'll patch you up, give you the supplies, couple of days work, that will pay for it. And you know damn well this is the system that if you actually tried to leave after a couple of days, he would bring up a new bill like, oh, you know, all this extra food we didn't agree upon. We said yes, a tire and some band-aids, but what about the food you ate for 2 days? That's another couple days work, and it would just keep happening. And if you tried to run, I mean, imagine he'd probably pop a cap in your ass or a baseball bat to the back of your head. But it was really nice seeing kind of like the way they kind of like fortified their base, you know, the fences. I think they had a really creative moment with how they transport cargo. I can't remember the last time, if ever, I've seen this, but the idea of someone walking with like a signal flare in front of the zombies who are chained and collared up and pulling a vehicle. That was incredibly clever, and I don't really remember the last time I've seen that, if ever, and I have to hand it to Zom 100. That was really an interesting moment, and I think probably the best visual moment is what happens to our boy at the very end of the episode. So basically, throughout this episode, we have a lot of zombie imagery, and we see our boy over the course of this episode prop to his VA, man, like the panic, the anxiety, the huffing and puffing. You felt like this was a real person going through a mental crisis because this was scaring him that much. And as seen by our girl's flashback, she also can relate to what's going on here and why he can't just say no because of the fear. But there's a moment where basically you have this side by side. It's not like he's actually walking next to zombies, but he's carrying like cargo, some boxes, and we see the zombies chained and collared dragging theirs as he's doing his, and just that parallel and just like, oh my god, we were here, we were free. Like, even if you want to call it ridiculous that he's chilling on the rooftop with a big flat screen in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, this was his freedom, and now he got roped back in. And it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I think next week's called Truck Stop of the Dead, so we had RV of the Dead this week. And it'll be interesting to see, because I don't know what that means. Probably maybe trying to get some supplies like food and stuff, I don't know. But either way, this was a really good episode, and while yes, we had once again another day wait because they didn't get the episode to streaming sites early enough, I do hope we can just finish this. And I mean, honestly, as bad as it is, if we can get the next 3 episodes and they do take that break because they have to because they ran out of TV slots, hopefully that means the production can remain as consistent as possible, even with certain studios like Shaft no longer being credited in the production notes, but I guess we'll see. But of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you thought. I mean, I've heard a big variety of opinions. Like, I think there's still, like, the people who watch the show are still enjoying it, but I think a lot of the hype because of the like, even an episode delay here or there, like a day delay, like this is now the second time the streaming episodes have been pushed back, once with a proper delay, and now we're gonna have to wait 3 months, a year, who knows how long, for episodes 10 through 12. I can understand how the hype is being killed, but I am still very much enjoying it. The only thing for me is I can definitely say this won't be my anime of the season like I thought it was going to be, because honestly it's just too inconsistent with releases to outclass certain shows like even A Dark Gathering of the season for me. But let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. But like I mentioned, we do have a full live reaction to today's wonderful Zom 100 episode available on my Patreon, and hey, while you're there you also get a video shout out. So today we have Sign, Tom Smith, Zeshram, Tychos, Teeny Bopper, Xeno, and Thrilled Axis. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.